Hi guys, it is time to do some planning for 2019. Before we get started, yes, I am wearing a coat. So I live in a house with lots of glass. It's quite a big house and that is such a huge privilege, I'm aware, but that also means in the winter it's absolutely freezing, and if we wanted to heat it all of the time, all of the day, then that would be astronomically expensive. So we don't do that. Instead, we have the heating on in the evenings when most of the people are around. Everybody else is out, so it didn't make sense to turn on the heating for just one person. So that is why I'm sat here in my coat. But it's a nice coat. It's really fluffy and soft, and it's pink, which, you know, is my favourite colour. So I'm not cold or freezing to death or anything. I'm just wearing a coat. Anyway, now that we've talked about that, oh yes, and I am also wearing pink eyeliner because I'm not at work today, so why not experiment and have a little bit of fun with my makeup. So yeah. Anywho, let's get on with the 2019 planning. Okay, so planning for an entire year, particularly when there are so many facets to the things that I want to get done, is really, really tricky. So there are several steps that I go through every year to make sure that I get everything I want done in 2019 and that I've got a longer term plan in mind. You know, where am I going to be in 5 years? Where am I going to be in 10 years? What's going to be my situation? Now, obviously you can't plan for life things. Unfortunately, I have had several life things go wrong in the past, i.e. when I was 17 and studying for university. My goals for that year were to get my A-levels and get into a really good university. I still managed those, but I had to work around the fact that my family home fell down and we had to live in a tent and then a caravan whilst I was coming in and out of hospital. If you're interested in that, I'm actually publishing my mother's omnibus, which talks about the whole family experience. Well, it's based on the family experience. There were a lot of fictional elements to it as well. But I'm actually publishing that this month. So if you're interested, look out on the Glass Slipper Publications page for the House That Sat Down omnibus. Anywho, that's a complete sidetrack and a plug. So there are obviously life things that are going to get in the way. And obviously you cannot plan for that. So what I try to do is try to set myself flexible goals. So I like to set myself things, what do I have to get done this year? What would I like to get done this year? And what's my stretch? So those are sort of my three main categories when I set myself goals. There are definitely different ways that I like to set myself goals. What I like to think about is where would I like to be and how am I going to get there? And I think the how am I going to get there things are, you know, sometimes they're a little bit hit and miss. You've got to try and find out what works. So for example, for 2018, one of my goals was to start YouTube. Hello! For 2019, I'd like to get to, as a stretch, 1,000 subscribers. I would like to get to 500, but I really, really need to get to 100 subscribers. That is how I'm setting that out. So that is how, how am I going to get 100 subscribers? Well, I'm going to make good content that people want to tune into. I'm going to listen to the feedback to make sure that I'm actually giving my audience what they want to hear, what they want to see. So sometimes it's a case of being adaptable in my how-to, but keeping my end goals the same. Anywho, with that being said, I'm going to take you through step by step how I plan my year. And my first step is to construct a mood board, which you can see behind me on top of like this. So ignore that. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a close-up of my mood board so you can see the kind of things that I've got on it. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that and it's all like focused in on everything that's going on here. So these are all of my stretch goals. You know, these are my ambitions. These are some of the things that I want to do this year, something to inspire me. So if I'm getting stuck in a rut or I'm looking for motivation, I can look at my mood board and be like, yes, this is my motivation. This is why I'm doing everything I'm doing. Yes, I'm tired, but this is why I am doing it all. This is what I'm aiming for. So one of the first things I do is I look on Pinterest for inspirational photos. I find inspirational pictures. I'm a very visual person. It's a really great way to keep me motivated. So as you can see, I've got some business women outfits in pink because of course I love pink. But that is because I want to be a businesswoman. I want to own my own business. I am building myself a kingdom brick by brick. So you've got some, you know, I'm a girl boss building her empire, although, you know, in my world that would say kingdom because I'm a king, and things like that. The other things I've got is lots of books, everywhere, Instagram worthy pictures, because I want to not only get into the publishing industry, obviously, because I have a publishing company, but I also want to start upping my Instagram game, sharing a lot more of my books on my Instagram and all of the things that I'm doing on there. And obviously I love books. Books, you know, are a big source of inspiration for me. So I've got lots of Instagram worthy pictures of books here and there. I've also got some office goals pictures dotted around, so here, 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 what I one day want my offices to look like, you know, because one day I want to be my own boss, which will require me having my own office and working from home. So I have a workspace, because I think it's very important to have a separate workspace and a sleep space. So at the moment I'm working in a little cubby just outside my room, where I've just had enough room to wedge a desk and a lamp and some wall space with some shelves just up there, which I find really very useful, but it's a small space. So one day when I live on my own or I get a bigger place, I would like to have a dedicated office that I can use just for my business and my books, which is going to be amazing. Obviously I'm a king, so you see lots of pictures of books with crowns everywhere, because I'm, you know, leading into the whole king thing. I'm a king building her kingdom. So I just find that they're a source of inspiration as well. Obviously I've got my Glass Slipper Publications logo here, and just above where I'm talking about my glass slipper goals. Okay, so let's dive in. Oh, the other picture things that I've done is set up notebook pictures around, because obviously I mentioned previously that I want to set up a notebook line, and I'm leaning into that and going to do more about that. So I've got that around as well to inspire me and remind me why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay, so now I've explained my pictures, let's talk about my stretch goals that I've got on here. Okay, so my GSP goals, my Glass Slipper publication goals are, so we've got this one, which is Publish Alice, which is actually something I'm going to get done in 2018, but I'm also publishing some other stuff with Alice May, very secret hush hush projects that are going to be very interesting for the new year as well, which I'm super excited by. I'm hoping to publish 2 as a stretch goal, but one is a need goal. I'm also thinking of running some short story competitions, particularly for young people. I've mentioned that before. What I want to do is really detail how I'm going to set that up, how I'm going to contact the people that might want to partake. Do I contact schools and let them know? Do I contact people via the internet? I'm not really sure. So that is something else that I'm considering setting up. I need to think about format. I need to think about how I'm going to get through everything. When is the best time to do it? Because obviously a lot of different stuff is going on as well. I also want to publish some short story compilations. So I find that short stories often don't get enough of a spotlight. I think they should. I think that a lot can be said in a short story, which is why I want to publish a few compilation books. Obviously another stretch goal would be to find other people to publish for Glass Slipper as well. However, I'm not sure how often I'm going to get that. I think that might have to be a 2020 goal, which is why it's not on here. But if I find a writer or a writer submits something to my website and I think it's absolute gold, of course I'm going to work with it, because I want to publish good stories. And if that means I have to take a couple extra hours every week to work on Glass Slipper, well, I'll find the time. So that is what my Glass Slipper goals are. Another Glass Slipper goal, because I will be publishing this notebook line through Glass Slipper, is a notebook line. Now obviously there's next to no detail on here, absolutely none at all, but I am slowly working through those details. So you know, in 2018, one of the things I want to do is sort of underline what my product specs are, work through all of my ideas and work out when I'm going to do things. So I need to work out things like shipping rates, how I'm going to package everything, what it's going to look like, all of the product specs, where I want it to go in the future, what are the different range of items that I want to do. So those are all these things that I want to have sorted, and I actually want to launch the line in the later half of 2019 once I've got all of that sorted, which is, it's so stomach turning and so nervous, because, you know, launching a line of notebooks is very different feel somehow to launching your own books. For some reason that just feels very different to me, and very, very intriguing, and somehow that just feels really different to me. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else, but it just makes my stomach turn with excitement, and I just hope people like what I've come up with, because I really think it would be useful for people. I certainly know that I would have found having these useful, so I'm looking forward to sharing all of that with you guys. YouTube wise, obviously I've mentioned before, my stretch target is 1,000 subscribers. I need to work out how I'm going to do that, how I'm going to create content that everybody wants to see. So obviously that's one of the reasons why I love feedback, and I encourage people to comment on my videos and ask me questions, because that way I can provide content, I can improve, and I can get better, because without feedback how am I supposed to get better and improve? But yep, so that's my YouTube 1,000 subs target. Stretch target now comes on to my books, my HT King persona. So HB is a code for my secret series. There you go. That is a little bit of a spoiler, or a not a spoiler really, but a little bit of a hint about what's going on. And then my Victoria Institute series needs to be completely finished, edited and recovered, all of that. So those are my stretch targets here for books. Now I think this one is actually going to be complete in 2019, so my stretch target is going to be achieved, which is amazing for me, so that I can come through at the end of the year and be like, oh my gosh, how many stretch targets have I made, and all of that. Anywho, this is my mood board. I hope you like it. I hope you guys have got some inspiration for your mood boards. I find visually this is very, very helpful when it comes to planning. Anywho, let's get on to the more detailed stuff. Okay, so now I have talked to you guys through my mood board. Sorry I didn't show you me making it, but I figured it was basically just me cutting and sticking pictures together, so it was pretty boring. So now I'm going to talk about my more detailed need-like stretch goals, and I'm going to show you guys how I do that. So we're going to zoom in. Okay guys, so we have zoomed in. So before I start, I always start with a plain piece of paper, and I don't use a lined piece of paper, and that is because, again, like I've said, I'm very visual, and so I might do little drawings or little arrows. I like the freedom of not having lined paper. That being said, I do like lined notebooks. So this is an old notebook that I started using probably back in June. I have also consulted my notebooks before that. I only carry one notebook on me at a time, so everything is sort of in this, which is useful in a sense that it means that everything is in one place, so I can do all of my goals. But it's also very unuseful, because when I'm sitting down to write something, I have to flick through, like, I don't know, I think there's like 100 pages in this notebook to get to what could potentially be just one idea on one page, which is why I am releasing a notebook line that should make organisation a lot easier. So, you know, by the end of 2019, hopefully that should be released and available to everybody, which is very exciting. Anywho, so I keep all of my notebooks from the year with me, because I find that if there are ideas that I have missed, now is a really good time to put them on paper in a dedicated plan. And that way I can flick through all of my old ideas. And quickly, I'd just like to show you guys how I use this as my organizer at the same time. So, remove that. Okay, so I set out my calendar in my notebook, and that might be kind of unusual to you guys. So I know people like having a dedicated planner, but as I've said, I like the freedom to sort of draw and doodle and do whatever I like. I tried bullet journaling, but I found that it was a very big expense in terms of time, because obviously lots of people like drawing and doodling and sitting down and journaling. I am not someone who journals. I am someone who kind of just needs this to be a functional thing, so I stopped bullet journaling. But if that's your kind of thing, I think go for it. I think it really works for some people, but I mean, just look at this. This is a function, not an aesthetic thing. Anywho, I set it out where one line of the week is a day of the week, going all the way down: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. On this page I have job and work. Obviously in previous months, I think, you know, see, July, it was labelled revision, but that is what my day job is, the things that are going on in that. So you can see when I was revising, I had to do so many lectures on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and all the way down. And, you know, I would cut things off if I was doing other things. On this side, I have writing, friends, and YouTube. So obviously in July, I was prepping to start my YouTube channel. I think I released my first video in July, because that was about the time when I went to Yalk. yeah, as you can see at the bottom, so I filmed all of Yalk, so you can see this is how I set it out. So friends, because obviously being social is really, really important. Anywho, I just thought you might like to get a little look at this. Obviously it's a complete mess, and October was a lot cleaner because I was working more. With my work stuff, I'm not really supposed to talk about it, just because of the kind of company I work for. But for some reason it was a lot cleaner in October. I don't know why. November and December have been a complete mess, but they are in another notebook because in October I finished this notebook. Anywho, so I keep that handy and I peruse through it when it comes to setting out my goals. Now, beyond that, I start with, let's use a fancy pen. So I start by writing out, and this is like a rough version, so I'll neaten it up. I'll either print it up or draw a really neat version to help me out later. So this is really a rough draft. And I have already messed up, so I'll go recycle that in a minute. Let's try again. I swear it's probably just because I'm doing this on camera. So I have columns. There we go. I have different columns. So I'm going, and headings. There we go. So it's kind of like a chart. Again, it's probably because I'm super analytical and I really like things being laid out in a linear, logical way. But at the same time, I like it sort of looking pretty. So like I said, rough draft. So let's start with books, because books is something that I've been doing for a lot longer than I've been doing GSP. And it's a little simpler to show you how it's done. So I'm going to write books here. And I'm going to do the subsection Victoria Institute series. So I like to refer to all of my projects with a little code because that just makes it a lot easier than writing out the Victoria Institute series or whatever the full name of a series is. So starting here. So what do I need to have done? Well, I need to have the series, the first 3 books recovered. So I need to have the first 3 books recovered because I don't think that they're at all linear. I don't think that they represent what's in the book at all the way they are. I mean, so they show a sense of intrigue and mystery, but they're very dark, and the books are not that dark. They're fun, they're mischievous, they're fun, they're full of espionage and mischief and cheek. So I'm getting the books recovered so they look like that. So I need to get the first 3 books recovered. I want to get all 6 books recovered. And the stretch will be to have them all recovered and edited so that it's all final and the series is complete. So as you can see with that goal, I've sort of kept it in bullet note format. So I need 3 books to be recovered. I want all 6 to be recovered, and as a stretch I'm getting them all recovered and edited and finishing the series to be complete. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for my glass slipper stuff. I'm not going to show you guys my mystery series because a lot of them are secret projects that I don't want to share with you guys yet, but maybe I'll use another page completely to show you my glass slipper stuff, because that stuff, obviously I've mentioned the notebook line, that you guys might find quite interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in time lapse. Okay guys, so as you can see, this is what I've come up with for my notebook so far. So as you can see, I've got lots of things to do that I need to get done for my notebooks, like deciding on the style of the inside pages, supplier, working out how I'm going to deliver my products to people, shipping, things like that. I also need to come up with a name for the style of pages that I'm going to be doing, because I'm doing several different styles of pages that people can select. Oh, that's another one I want to add. All right, just add that. See, it's one of those things that's a work in progress that you really need to do over a long period, like a month. So as you can see that, so to make sure that you've remembered everything that you want to include in all of your goals. Anywho, and then I need to design covers, launch it on my website. I need to also redo a little bit of my Glass Slipper Publications website. Not a lot of it, but I want to make sure that when I launch my products, it goes off with a really big bang and it looks really professional and clean, because that's what it is. And I'm also going to do a lot of the printing myself. That's right, I'm going to be doing a lot of the manufacturing myself, building these myself, because that way I know that I'm going to give you guys really good quality. I also need to sort the collectors. I've called them that, and I need to name, either keep the name the same or something different. Again, style, printing, cost, supplies. So you guys can see that I'm going to do 2 different products, all for the same reason. So that's a need to get done. I want to launch my line with a promotion to make sure that people see it. Do I do free delivery? Because delivery is really expensive. Delivering to the US is going to cost me £14. So I need to work out whether I want to do that. Do I do a sale? So lots of things that I could potentially do. I want to do a photo shoot with my products and also with my books that I'm releasing for a really good launch for the notebook series. I'm also, do I want to start designing add-ins, things that make these notebooks customizable, so people can order, like I have an add-on, I would like a post-it note section in there, or I would like to add some dividers in there, and whether I want to be able to do that, because I'm thinking of doing a building notebook sort of interactive frame thing, which obviously is a want, because that's another very expensive thing, because I have 0 computer skills, like absolutely 0. So I would have to hire someone to build that sort of thing for me, and every time I wanted to go in and make alterations or add things, then I would have to hire them again to alter the work they've done. So that is a want, but probably that whole build a notebook thing should be a stretch. Let's move on to stretch. So one of the stretch things I want to do with notebooks is to work with other authors to do special author lines, dedicated lines. Not just for authors that are published with Glass Slipper Publications, but other authors as well. And also I want to do dyslexia friendly notebooks. So also I want to do dyslexia friendly notebooks. I want to do dyslexia friendly notebooks as an inspiration for my sister. These will definitely get done at some point. Whether it's 2019 or 2020, these will definitely be coming out. They'll be basically with the same sort of style as the notebooks that I'm releasing here, but they will have coloured pages instead of white or cream. And that is so that people with dyslexia can finally have pretty notebooks, because I went online and searched to try and find my sister pretty notebooks with coloured pages because she's dyslexic. Couldn't find them anywhere. All I could find was school exercise books with coloured pages, which is totally not pretty. It's not unique or fun or for her. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to make them. So that is something that I want to do as well, although I'm really hoping to get these 2 done this year. These are my wants and these are my needs. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for the rest of the year, and then I will see you guys in a bit. So I hope you guys have found this really interesting and useful. Okay, so after I have done my need, want, stretch, I will sit down and I will think, okay, how am I going to get there? And I do that all on a very neat piece of paper that I keep in a very special, safe place to make sure that I can keep going back and looking at it. And one of the things I really want to emphasize to people that this is just a rough draft. So I have to be able to be flexible, I have to be able to adapt, because you never know what's going to spring up. So I will go back and I will edit it, or it may get to April and I have completed a lot of my stretch tasks and I've accidentally, you know, completed everything for the year, and that's a wonderful situation to be in, but sometimes that means that you've got to come up with new goals. Then the opposite is also true, that I've been in situations where I've set need goals and actually they've been too much of a stretch for me to accomplish, and as such I need to go back and rethink my plan to make sure that I don't suddenly feel bad for not accomplishing all of my goals this year. Setting goals and not achieving them can be really disheartening, and that is why I think it's really important to go back and update your plan. And sure, you may not have everything that you've wanted to get done in a year finished, but you will have got the majority done, and it gives you a little nice way to round up the year, think of all the things you've accomplished and be really thankful for all of the things and the hard work that you've achieved. I will also go in and do personal things. So for example, when I wanted to get into university, one of my goals was to get into university. When I wanted to graduate university, like I did this year, I was like, right, what do I need to do to graduate university? And I had a bit of a hiccup because, like I said, in January my exams went to trash, so I had to think about it all again once I got those results back and rethink my idea of what my year was going to look like. So with that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have enjoyed this video and this more hands-on sort of look and approach at how I actually do things, do let me know in the comment section or give it a thumbs up and any of those things so I know what you guys are interested in. If you guys are more interested in seeing the business side of the videos rather than my writing advice videos, let me know, because I am thinking of doing a sort of like a business sort of series as well. Maybe I could alternate between book chatter and business books every other week. So if you guys let me know what you think, that would be awesome, because I'm always really keen for feedback. And as always guys, I hope you guys have positive and productive days, giving you guys all of my best. And if you like this video, subscribe, follow me on all of my social media links, you know the drill, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye!